Hi guys, happy Thursday, almost Friday. Emily Williams Knight here from Texas Restaurant Association. Again, a video tonight because there's so much happening. So I'm hoping that you are watching this somewhere with a drink in your hand, and I will try to move quick, but also want to get through all these points. So first and foremost, on the federal front, Congress has headed home. Very disappointing. The people that are left in Washington are those that are trying to negotiate this deal. There's a couple things about this deal that are really important to understand. One, Congress has to be within 24 hours of returning to Washington so they can actually vote, we hope, on something. Don't know if it'll happen today, probably not tomorrow, but we do believe a deal will be somehow put together next week. I do think, and I'm growing more and more clear and talking with our great partners at the National Restaurant Association, this will be a skinnier version. That's how things are lining up. Things to know, number one, we do think we're locked in around the 30% loss rate around the PPP measurement. That's good news. It needs to stay there. Even this morning, Speaker Pelosi was commenting that 30% seemed reasonable. So that's a very good sign on the Democratic side. That's number one. Number two is around this tax liability piece. And I want to be very clear because I had a call with someone today who said, what are you talking about? I have to pay tax, ordinary income tax on the money from the first round. Right now, that is what's going to happen. And for people who took out larger loans because they have much larger restaurant groups or an independent who had a lot of different units, that's a major tax surprise and a major tax liability that nobody needs right now. And to me, if you've used that money, especially when we were trying to keep people hired, but we weren't generating revenue, if you think about when PPP was used, that's just a big punch in the gut. And so I've kind of made this my crusade that we need to get this fixed. And the national team has been so good on this. And so where it sits now is we do think there's bipartisan support to correct it, but we're not seeing it anywhere in the talks. And that's why I'm spending a lot of time right now into the evening trying to raise this on people's radar to make sure that people understand that we have to get this corrected in this piece of legislation because it's likely the last piece of legislation before next year. I do not believe the 120 billion ask will be in there, which is the Restaurant Recovery Fund. It's something we signed on to early. We love the idea of it. I think it would mean so much to our independents. And I like to remind people, independents make up the lifeblood of our membership. I don't think it's going to happen. They're looking at about 115 billion for schools across the whole US. I just don't see them earmarking that amount of money for only our sector. Not what anyone wants, but I always promise you the truth. And I think as an association, we need to continue to put all of our energy and all of our weight behind getting those pieces that we need to get over the line in this next week. So that's sort of what's happening federally. We've got a lot of calls in. The team's doing great work. We have really good engagement, again, with our elected officials, and I know my colleagues across the U.S. are working theirs as well. So might have something through the weekend, but probably not, but hopefully into next week. I do think what we need to keep up is the pain the sector has felt on the federal front, because whatever happens in the fall, starting in the spring, we will have an opportunity to look at legislation, and something like the recovery fund or other pieces, if this hardship continues, I think we do not want to take our foot off the gas because it's really meaningful. But right now, when you hear PPP and liability protection and this tax stuff, we've got to get behind the things that we know we can clear and get done, because the worst is to end up out of this whole mess with nothing. And I don't want that. And frankly, we'll make sure that doesn't happen. On the state front, a couple of notes. One, Governor Abbott had a press call today, really clear. We're going to enter flu season soon. I know it's hard to believe, but kids are going to be going back in some cases, and then we're going to run into flu season. And really the message is to keep doing all you can on the restaurant side and as a Texan to help slow the spread, because we've seen the stabilization. As my colleague Joe said today, you almost see the beautiful bell curve now looking at the hospital rates. We can't just sustain. We've really got to get that capacity to a point where if flu season hits in an abundance, that we do have hospital beds for those that are sick. I also think one of the things he said today, and I just really want you to listen to me on this, because I think I'm onto something, and maybe I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid, but he said today again what I've been saying when Maryland's governor came out and other areas have come out and said backyard barbecues, family parties, and family gatherings, they're starting to trace that's where the spread is coming from. And it makes so much sense because we've scared the heck out of everyone from going out to eat. And so I would like to argue, as Governor Abbott said today, they are seeing this in Texas now. Well, I think that all those families that are in their backyards gathering or in their homes gathering, why don't you all meet at a restaurant? Meet at a restaurant and sit in an area that has been sanitized like an OR operating room, You can sit with a small group of people. You know that everyone is wearing a mask around you. You can have an incredible meal with no dishes, no cross contamination. You just get up and walk out again. So I say we sort of start a campaign, get out of your backyard and get back into our dining rooms. But again, we have said all along, this is not happening in restaurants. And so the more we can have our elected officials, like Governor Abbott, make points today like these backyard and family gatherings, I really encourage you in your messaging as restaurants to really invite people back in, come back in and be safe, meet your family here, right? Versus being all piled into a small house somewhere. And then we have all sorts of other issues. So I just think there's something emerging here that I don't want to lose sight of. And again, it could just be a campaign that I dream about when I can't sleep, but I truly believe people are safe with us, and really to keep supporting that, please, 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 it's that restaurant promise. I woke up today, there was a great video out of Brennan's in Houston, and he talked about the restaurant promise and the restaurant certification. We have our first folks getting evaluated, so remember, make sure to sign up for that. Follow those guidelines. And then last is on Marketplace, and this is critical. We've seen a great uptick in registrations, which is awesome. And the really good news is the agenda is out. Now, if I'm honest, it's been out and maybe I just didn't know it. So I apologize to Anna because it's been out. It's amazing. It's an entire 6 days. Every night you can wind down with a drink in your hand, either celebrate, awards, talk, lament, whatever it is, right? But during the day, there are some incredible sessions, and I'm going to walk through just a couple. Chef Tim Love, who I, of course, adore because right here in Fort Worth, Chef Nunez from Suarte will be there. Chef Sam Hellman Moss will be there. Chef Ing, Chef Ann and Jeffrey from Bakery Lorraine, Pat Green, who's a country star. I mean, we really want to make this a food and beverage and discussion, and then some incredible exhibitors, and a lot of it's focused on operating in the new world. So, you know, you may get sick of me saying Marketplace, but I promise you, like, it's the perfect timing because so much is changing, even on the legal and regulatory side. So the DOL is doing a 90-minute with the IRS. If you don't think that's important right now, you got to navigate all this forgiveness. You've got to navigate the paid sick leave component. There is so much you have to think through. Well, just come for 90 minutes and let the experts tell you. They are amazing partners. To take it one step further, Anna actually got them to do a session with others in Spanish. And so we can get our employees that are Spanish speaking around some of the stuff, and some of our managers to actually get it in Spanish, because we want everyone to have access right now to information. So that's sort of my call to action. On the federal front, we're working really hard to make sure those pieces stay in. We've got a great seat at the table. On the state front, our numbers continue to look better and better. We need to keep them that way. Do your part. I think you know we've had the discussion. We've made the ask, and we'll make the ask again. We want to be great partners because it's really helped us with the governor's office and the strike force, but we know that you need some of these restrictions lifted in a safe way to help you keep growing. So hang on. I know PPP is a lifeblood for so many of you, so hang on, hang with me like my message last night, and I hope you have a great night. My daughters get to play basketball tonight, so I'm going to finish this up and go watch them hopefully compete, and I'll talk to all of you later. Have a great night.